Our final talk tonight is from Roddy and Helene from down in the Borders, talking about their virtual live lessons in coding. Hi, Roddy.
Hi, Darren. You all right?
Helene. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in and giving us some chat.
Good stuff. I'm hoping, given that I can see myself on the screen, I can see Helen, that everyone else can see us as well. As Darren said, we are down here in the Borders. The not so sunny Borders tonight, but we'll do our best to try and entertain you over the next half hour or so and tell you all about how we have brought virtual live lessons to life down here in the Borders. This is our second time presenting this kind of slideshow, slide deck. We did it for the Apple Worldwide Summit a few weeks ago. So it's a great privilege to be here tonight in front of you all with the STACS Virtual Festival. So a little introduction from us both. First of all, so I am Roddy Graham. I am a lead teacher down here in the Borders with the Inpsire Learning team. And I've been a teacher for 12 years with a primary background, been part of the Inpsire team since 2020. And in the next few slides, we'll tell you a bit more about what the Inpsire team is and what we do. But I'm not just doing this solo tonight. I'm also joined by my fantastic colleague, Helen.
So, hi. We did have, I'm Helen, hi. We had chats about how we used to call ourselves Holly and Phil when we used to do this. And now we need to...
Doesn't work nowadays, no. We need a new name, don't we? I'm not being Phil anymore.
I'm usually Holly, but I'm actually called Helen. And I'm also a lead teacher down in the Borders for Inpsire Learning. So part of the week, we're lead teachers, and then part of the week, we're in our own schools. So I also have a primary 6 class as well. So we're both primary based, and what we're going to talk about is mostly primary, but it does sort of leak into secondary a little bit. So I've been a primary teacher for about 12 years as well. And yeah, we wanted to talk to you about how we have tried to engage our children and teachers in the Borders by bringing them some live lessons and trying to make them engaging and bring coding to life as well. So try and remember who's saying what. So we wanted to try and engage you as we try and engage our participants in our live lessons. So if you could write in the chat, hopefully I can see it. I think I can. So to engage young people in their learning, you need to. So if you could try and finish that sentence off. I think we've done this before as like a word cloud or a quiz, but I think we'll just pop them in the comments if that's all right. See if you're still awake, but you might not be. We realise we're the last on.
We're also competing with Scotland versus Georgia as well, so it's like a double-edged sword tonight, trying to entertain people whilst the football's on. But there we go. Thanks to Darren for his wee comment there. Link to real world IT that they use. Love that one. Thank you very much, Darren. We've got Alan saying connect with what they love and have some fun. Hopefully we'll be doing that over the next few minutes as well. Keep sending those comments in as you go. I know there's a slight delay in terms of us presenting this live and you actually seeing it, so we will have to contend with that. But I think there's another one on screen now, Helen.
Yep. So you've got knowing what people's interests are and connecting to computing stuff in their own lives, choosing an area they'd be interested in. So we tried to do a lot of those things in our virtual lessons. So making it real life, making it relevant, and making it fun. So we'll kind of, what do they call it? Swing back round to those at the end as well and see what else people have added in. So we'll go to next slide, please. And this is me. So what we were going to talk about today is who we are and where we come from. And so what our background is in the Borders and what our we called it the problem, but it really should be what is the challenge? Because it's not a problem, it's a challenge. So how we solved our challenge. So how we built our live lessons to try and get the most impact we could. What we learned, we've done quite a few of these and we've learned some lessons along the way, and where we are now. So what we are going to do next with our live lessons. And then any top tips if you fancy doing them too. And if you've got time, we're going to get some questions. So over to you to tell us.
If at any point you want to pop in a question too, just do so, and we'll keep an eye on the wonderful things that just pop up on these screens. It's not like doing a Teams thing where you have to like look at your own screen at the same time. It just pops up. It's wonderful. I like it a lot. So, Inspire Learning, what is it? If you are aware of it, then you'll know that it's a digital technology program down here in the Scottish Borders. It is listed as a transformational education program, and it provides a one-to-one iPad device for all primary 4 to S6 pupils. So that's ages 8 to 18, and all staff as well. And that includes additional needs assistants. It includes senior management team. It includes nursery staff as well. So basically, if you work in a Borders school, you will have an iPad in your hands. There are currently 15,000 managed devices in both primary and secondary schools, and they're hosted within our JAMF platform, which is our mobile device management system. There is a curated self-service app as well, which aligns across different settings. So secondary have slightly different apps to primary, but generally the apps are very, very similar for both pupils and staff. And we're all in control of which apps go onto that as well. But I think what makes the Inspire Learning team a little bit different to some other projects like this in Scotland and further afield as well, is that there's the Inspire Learning staff support team, which has been created too. And we've been part of that for the last 3 years, myself and Helen. It started quite as a small role. My role was for about half a day a week, and now it's grown into a permanent lead teacher position. And we go around schools in our clusters to support them with improving their use of the digital technology to enhance teaching and learning. And we also go across other clusters too to support them as well, both in terms of CPD opportunities, but also these live lessons that we've developed as well. So it's a real engaging, innovative program down here. It was in 2019, actually, it was launched, which was pre-COVID times, which allowed the secondary schools in particular to deal with the home learning a lot easier than it would have been had we done it a year or so down the line. It was a little bit trickier for primary. We actually got our one-to-one devices at home. They brought them round and dropped them on our doorsteps and kept their 2 meters away from us. And that was how it worked back then. But it's really been a swift transformation in terms of how teaching and learning is done down here in the Borders as a result of the Inspire Learning program. We've had a successful festival as well the last couple of years, and this year we had Gillian Hamilton, the Chief Executive of Education Scotland, visiting us, and we had Ollie Bray doing a keynote speech for us as well at the Educators Day, and he said that the program down in the Borders is, quote, world class. So if it's good enough for Ollie Bray, then we're obviously doing something right. So let's talk about live lessons now, because
enough of that. Thank you, Roddy. So we do have our challenges. So I think one of the big challenges that we found has been, if we can have the next slide, please. As you can tell who's in control. So the challenge we face is, I think the big one, although it's third in the list, is the kind of geography of the Borders, and maybe some of the people who are here as well face that in Scotland, is that we've got really sparsely populated, quite widely spread out. So I think we worked out it's about 2 hours from east to west if we were going from one school to another. And we've got teeny schools and we've got big schools. We've got a real mix. And what we found is that we really wanted to bring a bit more coding knowledge to these schools. So we felt that coding was an area that teachers maybe shy away from. They're not very confident in. They wouldn't go on training unless they were interested, like we would. So it's something that we wanted to try and help our teachers so that we could make sure that the pupils really got that experience, because we didn't want anyone to miss out. And we know that we want to give a kind of broad experience to everyone. So because our teachers weren't that confident, that meant that the coding experience for primary pupils was really varied. If you've got a teacher that's into it, then they're going to get a really good experience and do lots of things and then go to high school and who knows. But if they haven't, then the pupils are not going to do that. Maybe they'll go to secondary and they won't have that experience and might just be a bit on the catch up. So that's the area that we really wanted to focus on. But our problem was the geography and the rurality. And there was only a few of us. And we couldn't keep going into different classrooms to go and see these teachers. We wanted to try and hit a lot at once. And we want to make sure we got our experience spread across the Borders. So what we decided to do was, this not me,
our solution, wasn't it? Yeah. So what we did initially was a one-off live lesson back in October 2021. It was set during the European Code week or fortnight, as it actually is. And it was an app design challenge, which was targeted initially at upper primary classes and first year secondary pupils as well. We used some of the Apple education resources and adapted them to fit our needs and our purpose that we wanted to do. And it was broadcast live on our digital central professional learning space, which I don't know if this was able to be shown or not, but we've got our schoolhouse mug as well. So that was a little professional.
So that was on Teams. So that was it was like a big call that everyone joined on Teams, because that's, as we all have the same apps, we knew that everyone could join on that.
Yep. And we basically just put a bunch of posters out. We tried to promote as much as we possibly could, and we tried to see how many pupils would actually join our little live lesson. We had for it a presenting team, of which I think me and Helen were on the presenting team for it. There was also some roving reporters in schools, and this became a really interesting idea as part of the live lesson package, and it's kind of developed through time as well, this idea of having people in the classroom reporting on what is happening with the pupils. So we had that for this initial lesson as well. There was this interactive element with activities and communication, and trying to make it exciting and engaging and open. So we were reading comments out, we were going live into schools and trying to have that two-way communication rather than it just being one way all the time from us. We made use of our social media as well. We used hashtags. We got schools to tweet about it, to put it onto their social medias as well. And we also made sure that there was follow-up activities and support given to make sure that it wasn't just a case of this is 45 minutes that we're taking and that's it all done. We were wanting to build that kind of culture of coding in our schools as well. So I'm going to hand over to Helen for the next slide.
So we did our EU live code. It worked really well. So we had about 1,000 children join from various, I think it was more than that, oh gosh, how many classes? About 50 classes. So we had some double up and things like that. And I think the reason it worked is that we were really pretty slick on the technology at that point, because we've been in lockdown doing our literal live lessons with our classes. But I think what the children were really craving at that point was connection with each other. So they had been kind of stuck in their own classes. They'd not seen any other schools. There was no trips, there's no sports. So we really tried to bring in the other schools and everyone could see each other. There was tried to make it lively, a bit kind of bit children's TV, kind of Ant and Dec-ish. And so because they've not interacted beyond their bubble, we really felt we wanted to bring in their voices and let them see each other and hear each other. So we kind of would go live once we'd done an activity to a class, wherever there was one of us as a roving reporter, and then say, oh, this is what Sam has done. Sam, would you like to tell everyone? And Sam was talking to 1,000 people kind of broadcasting, which was really cool. And they felt like there was some part of something bigger. I think the world felt really small for a bit, and now we blasted it open and made it really big. So we felt that was really successful, and that kind of worked for us. So it led to another project that we did called Ready Set Code Live, and it has to have a hashtag because Roddy loves Twitter. So we
good name too, isn't it? Strong name, Ready Set Code Live.
We wanted to kind of bring this to a series of lessons to kind of continue with this coding, because children had joined, classes had joined, and we wanted to keep building on it. So we based them around Scratch Junior and Scratch. So we knew we all had Scratch Junior. It's one of the apps that we've got, and Scratch freely available online. And we developed a series of 3 lessons that we would do weekly, and we went to different classes. So we had a reporting team that would go to different classes. So you report live from that across the region. And we got lots of different people involved, and we got people who'd never coded before to do some coding. And as you were kind of mentioning in there, giving them the opportunity to personalize, we were showing the teachers this is what we could do, and then the kids would go off in all sorts of different directions, and they would personalize their little projects the way they wanted. So we didn't have wanted to move away from the code along kind of thing, which are great, and I've done lots of them, but we wanted to make it a bit more interactive, and then give them ideas so they could then take it and go on their own little way with it. So keeping to time, what we learned, some the hard way. Is this me or is this you, Roddy?
This is you.
This is me.
Yeah.
So what we learned, don't talk too much. Very tempting when you're in a vacuum. So we had 2 people who were presenting, and you'd be off just in a room somewhere. We had one person who was kind of watching the chat and one person who was responsible for presenting. So we could have the chat and we knew back and forth And our roving reporters would regularly check in with us to let us know if we were going too fast or too slow. So it gave you a real indication of how it was going, which you don't have when you do a live code along. So I've been on them sometimes and it's like, oh, I've missed it. And I have to keep trying to help 30 children and I've missed what's going on. And in our case, we could have someone say, hang on, could you do that bit again? And we could go over it. But not talking too much was something we learned. So really tempting when you're sitting silently in a room to just keep talking. But if you keep talking, the children are half listening, the teacher's half listening, they're trying to be busy, they're trying to get on. And we worked out that actually not talking and putting up a timer of how long they were going to do that activity for, we always spaced it out, was much more effective. Practice makes perfect. So we weren't amazing the first time we did it. We had things that we mucked up and there were people on my team that had not done much before and hadn't presented much, but we got better along the way and we always owned up things went wrong. We kind of showed the teachers that it's okay, don't worry. Being visible works. So we always made sure that we did step by step really clearly what we were doing on the screen, but made sure that they could see us too. And it made it really nice when we switched over our roles and we went into their class and we're like, oh, you're the person from the lesson, and kind of got to show different people from our team too. Energy, enthusiasm, engagement. So sometimes when you weren't feeling it, it was hard, but you have to have lots of energy, lots of enthusiasm, and you get lots of engagement from the kids. So kind of for that 45, 50 minutes, you turn on your best Anton deck and you get loads of engagement from the kids and they're really into it and they think coding is the best thing ever. So we really increased our teacher confidence. We had teachers who joined who'd never really done any coding at all, who were then taking on the projects we suggested and going off and doing their own, or they were supporting their own colleagues. That's brilliant. Visible instructions. So instead of just having us on the screen, we always left step by step, usually block coding, what they had to do so they could keep referring or take a screenshot. We had some teachers who were always going to be a bit nervous about something new, joining a live lesson. Will I know what I'm doing? So we always had a little session for them so they could join like an after school session to find out what it was all about. And so we could reassure them. So our goal was to try and get as many teachers on and as many teachers more confident with coding. We worked out our pacing. So we learned that it's best to kind of do things weekly and 3 weeks is probably plenty. And we had to work out that we needed to promote a lot because I don't know whether it's the same in other people's schools, but some things get through to some teachers, not others. So we really had to find lots of different ways of promoting and then have a follow-up plan. So we wanted those teachers who'd built that confidence. The kids were excited. We wanted to give them, here's what you could do next. Have you been here? Could you do this? Could you get the microbits? So to give them a follow-up plan so that they didn't just stop it with us. We weren't the special people. They could then continue on. So how did we do it?
Yes. Building the live lesson. How do we do that? So the lessons were really planned well in advance. We would meet as a team and we would spend time actually drilling down to the bones of what are we actually wanting them to take away? What do we want the learning to be? What are the activities going to be? How does it meet the curriculum needs? So it was a small team that created that program of lessons and they were also the ones who delivered it as well. As Helen was saying a wee minute ago about the promotion, as she said, sometimes it's hard to get things directly to teachers because we can't just email all teachers in our authority. So we need to make sure that we're promoting it on our Schoolhouse platform, on Teams, that we're making use of social media. We're trying to hit the authority-wide emails where we can. And from a kind of sustainability point of view, not plastering posters all over schools because we want to use as little paper as is possible. There was a real distribution of team roles as well. So each of us would take a chance to be the presenter or the co-host or the roving reporter. So it gave us that kind of opportunity to take a different role each week. But because it was the same people that the pupils were seeing on their screen, as Helen alluded to earlier on, when we used to go into the schools as the roving reporter, you were almost like a very, very minor celebrity in that school where they would be like, oh my God, the guy from the screen from last week who's in my school. It's like, yeah, it's me. No autographs were needed though at that point. The teacher information sessions were really, really important. It was good to give the resources to staff and show them exactly either where they can find them and also what the content is, so that they knew the outline of the lesson before, they knew what the pacing would be like too, and that they were able to download things in advance or share it to their Showbie platform, for example, if that was where they were going to be using it. They were quite well attended, but we also made sure that there was a digital handout and resources for those who were not there on the lesson itself. And then it came to showtime on the day. And when it came to that, our structure of the lesson wasn't that different to what our lesson would be if it was a face-to-face one. There would be a wee introduction to the team because it was a new person that was teaching them. The interactive opener would be either in the form of a quiz or a chat question or a wee poll maybe, just to kind of engage their thinking. There'd be a teaching input as well, and through times these changed from it being a live demonstration that we do through sharing our screen to maybe some videos being used which could then be played over again when they were actually doing their activities too. So it kind of changed from that kind of hybrid model as time went on. We gave lots of demonstrations as well to make sure that they were very clear on what they were wanting to do. We always had at least one main activity, sometimes two, that they would go away and do. And at that point, the roving reporter might just turn their camera on and show some of the live things that were happening. There was loads of sharing via the chat and via the video as well. What we also managed to do through time was, if we either didn't have a roving reporter or there was some schools that wanted to share but there wasn't a reporter in their school, is we got some of the class teachers to turn their iPads on, their cameras unmute, and then show directly from the classroom. So it was almost broadcasting more pupils on the lesson itself. So we were showcasing even more pupils at that time. And then we had a wee kind of questions and answer session and then next steps as well. And we tried to keep it, as I said, as close to an in-class lesson as we possibly could. So, Helen, where indeed are we now? Not just on STACS Summer Virtual Festival.
Well, we kind of have tried that out. And I think as the previous presentation we're talking about, you've tried something for year one and then we kind of built on it, try and work out what worked and try some different things. So we're trialing some different approaches. So this time, rather than synchronous, so trying to be completely live all the time, we're going to try doing where we do some video lessons so the pupils can get ready. And that means the one thing we found is that teachers can't always join at the same time. There's PE, there's assembly, there's all sorts of different things. So they could do that in their own time, watch the video and get prepared, and then join us for the live lesson for the next part. And that means they can self-pace a little bit more. And we've tried creating Apple books. So the one on the screen just here is one that Roddy created for the World Cup. So that was where they can join for the live lessons. There were the 3 different things about the different apps they could learn, all based around the World Cup. And there was lots of chat around the human rights and all sorts of stuff in that live lesson too that maybe the teachers wouldn't have gone into. But also they could get the book and they could do that in their own time as well, or they could redo it. We have not just done coding, so we have done some animation. We've done video. So there was one about green screen and using puppets. So different members of the team have kind of taken their live lesson approach and add their own spin to it, and then they've done it for different things. And then we have given, I think we want to go with more professional learning opportunities for staff. We can't get round to every staff member. They won't always join us for CPD because it's not always on their PRD maybe. But if they're doing it live, they're doing it now, they're doing it with their class. We're teaching their class for them, but they're also getting a little bit of CPD. So we get to engage the pupils too with that. So we have so on the screen is some various things that we've done. We've done eco focus, we've done Scots on film. That was great. So we had little Nessies. So one of our colleagues did that. Showed them how to do on iMovie. They had Nessies on sticks and they had them on green paper or blue paper, and they sort of added backgrounds and added sound effects, stuff like that. We've done the EU Code Week again. This time we focused on AI and we did face recognition, which was really cool on Scratch. If you've not looked at that, then you definitely should. We've done the World Cup. We have done book festival, all sorts of different things. So we're hoping next year to kind of extend that into Microsoft Make Code and to do podcasting, a few different things, and just see where it takes us and try and keep it fresh and keep it exciting for the teachers. So we have got some top tips. which
we're
are
probably aiming to go maybe like almost one a week next year. I think as Pamela was saying,
not just us, not just Ollie and Phil.
No. They're far too busy. They need the summer holidays. But as Pamela was saying before, things kind of come in like a 3-year cycle. So the first year was let's just give it a go and see how it goes. Year 2, which would be last year for us, is let's try and expand it a bit more. Whereas year 3 is now going to be right. How can we absolutely nail this and go and make it the best possible bit of learning as we can? And who knows, we might even try and do some beyond border stuff as well. That would be my ultimate dream, is that the Inspire Learning team presents in Glasgow classrooms or Inverness classrooms.
I did think you were going to say Glastonbury then, but
yeah.
We are nearly out of time, so you need to go to our last slide.
Yeah, so top tips. So as we said before, we've got promote. If you don't promote them, you'll not get anyone there. And ultimately, if you don't have any classes joining you, it becomes a bit of a worthless exercise. When we are presenting, we try to have 2 presenters and a reporter at least. The more reporters you can have, the better, but sometimes we can only have 1. So having 2 presenters, mainly because one person will be delivering the content and the other will be managing the tech and checking the chat, etc., and then having your reporter as well. Multiple devices on the go is always a winner as well, just to check that everything is hunky-dory. We're very fortunate that we've got the multiple devices in our schools, which makes it really easy to use. Making it interactive and personal, it engages the children, it engages the staff as well. So it's a really good way of trying to keep that enthusiasm there too. Enthusiasm works as a presenter. As Helen was saying, you need to kind of be on it for the 45 minutes or the hour that you're there for, and just be as lively as possible as it goes. And also to get feedback ASAP, to try and, because if you're doing like 3 weekly sessions, you want to get the feedback after the first one, because if things weren't going well then, you can make it better for that second one as it happens. So those would be our top tips if anyone is thinking of running some live lessons wherever in the world you are. So in terms of us, that is us done. If you do have any questions, we can answer them just now, or
don't encourage him, because this is not.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? Get us on the pyramid stage. Our email addresses are there if you want to get in touch with us. We're more happy to take any questions from you. Our Twitter handles are there too, if you fancy giving us.
Share what we've done as well, because if you'd like to do your own lessons in your own region, then happy to share what we've done.
Yeah, and then the bottom one is just the Inspire SBC one, which shares various different projects that are on the go in the borders. And I think that's done, Helen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks, Roddy. Really, really good. It's good to see people using the stuff we got in lockdown and actually using it to properly use your talent and resources as wide as you can. Are you finding that there are more primary schools, as you say, doing a bit more computing, bringing it into a bit more of the curriculum because they're getting a bit more confident?
Yeah, I think it's really scaring the pants off the secondaries, actually, that we kind of show them, be like, oh, I did this with P4, and they're like, oh, we need to redesign our +1 curriculum now. And I think that's great to see. It's something we're really proud of. It's not something, so they've got to up their game a little bit.
Yeah, that's great.
They're taking a real leadership role over it as well. They're kind of running their own little microbit clubs, etc. at lunchtime, and they're kind of pushing themselves on as well, which is maybe quite scary for some teachers, because they're feeling like, well, if you know this already, how am I meant to then push you further? Because I don't know it.
Yeah, we found the same. If you capture the kids, the teachers have to be kind of dragged along. And we try to explain to them, even as a computing teacher in a secondary school, you learn so much every day from kids who say, oh, I did this. And I'm like, I have no idea how you did that. Yeah. No, it's really, really good. There was a couple of questions about DPIAs. I don't know who decided to bring that up right in the end. About how we get on with councils and getting data protection impact assessment reports done and things like that.
We all the apps that go into our self-service store have to go through the DPIA process, so it can be quite lengthy in getting the apps on that we want.
We don't always get what we want, I think, because of that.
Yeah,
it's something I know STACS are really pushing for, a more central, Scotland. If somebody can get it signed off, then surely we can do it. But no, it's fantastic.
The thing we really like is a stop motion app. We can't find one that will get through yet.
Right, Brendan is warning me that there's only a minute left. The Scotland game has been rained off at the moment, although Scotland are 1-up, but they're actually off it. Just to thank everybody for tuning in. I know it's been a busy year and there's another 2 nights coming along. Tony and Brendan in the background have done a hell of a work to get this all going. So I really thank them. And just the STACS report's just been published. If you're not signed up to the website, you can get all the materials and stuff on there for PGE courses. They're fantastic.
It's very glossy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really, really good. What a diverse bunch of stuff we've heard from, and lots of really exciting stuff. And for teachers by teachers, I think that grassroots push is a massive, massive thing.
Ben, what was the stop motion app we saw at W5? That Pamela got a stop motion app?
Yeah, we need to share more, guys. But I think we're going to get out.
Through that.
I've got a feeling.
I think so. Aye.
The whole thing's going to stop. So hopefully you're still hearing us. Bye, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all our speakers.
Thanks, guys.